Taking the show on the road again this week. Thank you for joining us for the Twin Cities Real Estate Pros podcast. My name is Ron Johnson, licensed real estate agent with RE/MAX Advantage Plus, joined by David Nelson, licensed real estate agent with RE/MAX Advantage Plus. We're on location at Harry's Cafe here in Lakeville, and who better to be with than the guy whose name's on the sign, Harry. Thank you for joining us for our podcast.
Well, I love it. I appreciate being included.
Okay, it's great. And we're going to talk about primarily the city of Lakeville, things that are going on in the real estate market. And also one of the things we like to do on the show is promote local businesses, because if you're going to buy a home in a community, live in a home in the community, obviously being a part of it, whether you're a business owner or someone who frequents the business, and that's where you're going to spend your money. So we like to promote some of those things. And you know all about the city of Lakeville, Dave, because that's where you sell most of your business, and that's obviously where you live as well.
And I'm elated to have Harry on here because it's one of my favorite restaurants. And so I always plug Harry's when new people come to the town. They always ask me, what's a good place to go eat? I'm tired of Applebee's. I'm tired of Wild Wings. What's something good? I'm like, you know what? Harry's is always on the list because of I'm here once a week. I admit it.
Yeah, there you go. Needing the fries.
Definitely a regular.
Yeah, and then the fries, they come back every time.
All right, so we're going to let Harry tell his story, tell us all about the restaurant and his history in Lakeville and how you're really a pillar in this community. But first, we're just going to, if it's okay with you, clean up some real estate business that we're going to talk about. Because the purpose of the show is for us to talk about some pre-listings that are coming on, things that we have going on the market as well. So, David, I know you've got the Dundas one we've been talking about for a while, and then another four-bedroom, four-bath in Lakeville. Okay.
The one in Lakeville went live over the weekend.
Okay.
So you'll see that on the MLS. That's the 11786 177th Street in Lakeville. Hit the market Saturday afternoon already. Getting some good showings on it. Foresee that one selling quickly. It's in the Lake Villa Gulf Estates.
Awesome.
$365.
Okay.
So great price range to get in there. The one in Dundas, we got the pictures back yesterday, and they look amazing. So I will be updating the Zillow coming soon of that one with the new photos. So if you're looking to move to Dundas, don't buy any other house but this one, because 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. They've renovated every bathroom. It's absolutely stunning. So go on the actual video itself. We'll have the link below. But also go to our Zillow Coming Soon page to check out that one. It's 564 Summit Avenue in Dundas.
Okay, perfect. A couple of things. I lied last week. I said I had 5 closings coming up in June and 2 in July. That's actually only going to be 4 in June because one of those got pushed to July. Oh, so 4 closings coming up in June and 3 in July. And I just want to tell a quick story about a listing that I'll have coming on. I just don't have the paperwork done yet, so I can't tell you the address. But it's in northeast Minneapolis. And I went out there a couple of weeks ago. We looked at it, gave a little quick market analysis. They're going to do some updates and things like that. And all the houses, it's a nice little starter home, little cute house north of Minneapolis. And all the comps around there were selling for about between $150 and $160. If there were 2 bedrooms, they were about $150. If there were 3 bedrooms, they were up around $160. And at the time, there were 4 pending listings, including the neighbor's house and one just a block behind. They're all generally the same house. Yeah. It was all closed either somewhere between last Thursday and yesterday. And they all closed at about $170 to $175. So guess what?
$190.
Our pricing strategy is going to change a little bit. And that's just kind of crazy how the market is going right now. Because when we first looked at the comps that were selling, that was going off of information from, like, say, April and March. But now that we're here in May and June, the prices have shot up in that neighborhood. So for a 2-bedroom, this is city prices, a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house going for $175,000.
I'm sure it has a big yard too.
Yeah, it's a really. But the house that we're going to list is really nice, kind of charming type northeast Minneapolis style home. But that just kind of shows quickly what's going on in the market there. But
and I got a plug too. One of our agents on our team, Dawn Seepersad, she has out of town buyers coming from California. They're coming to town, and I think it's either this weekend or next week. Don't quote me on it. They're looking for a house that has to be in Lakeville. Must be in Lakeville. Between $450 and $550, and they would love to have a pool if possible. So we've looked at everything on the MLS right now. So those people looking on Facebook and everything else, if you have a property coming up that's between $450 and $550 in Lakeville with a pool, contact us with information below, and we'll pass it on to Don, because these people are coming through. They're going to be here for 4 days. They're on a mission. They're going to buy a house, and it could be your house, Facebook people.
So 4 days is plenty of time to have a meal, right? So if they're looking for a good meal,
multiple meals,
where better to come for your lunch? Did you do breakfast?
We do breakfast on the weekends.
Okay, well there you go. They're going to be here on the weekend.
We'll have to rearrange it.
Okay,
not
so
rearrange your schedule.
if they need breakfast, lunch, and dinner, a good place to come would be.
We'll hook them up.
We're going to come here to Harry's. Yeah. So let's get into your history here with the restaurant business here in in Lakeville, and I'm sure years ago when you opened, you were probably the only show in town right here.
It was pretty thin. It
Yeah.
was definitely pretty thin. It was the movie theater opened here about a year before I built the restaurant.
Okay.
So I figured dinner and a movie is a good tie-in. Plenty of room, plenty of business.
And then you got all the other businesses opening. The clinic is here, Walmart,
Right.
and all those other things. So
And more on the way.
Right.
Yeah, in the last couple of years, this whole area has just
It's
been
booming.
exploded.
It's really, really booming.
Especially on the west side of 35, it was you and the movie theater. That was it.
That was it.
And now within the last year and a half, there's been an Super America. Is it a Alina clinic?
Alina Health
Alina's
Clinic,
yep.
right?
Walmart, of course. So,
Right.
and then again, there's more stuff coming. It's good to see.
It is.
You must be tickled pink.
It took a long time. I figured when I built the restaurant, over 18 years ago, that I was ahead of the smart money by 3 years, maybe 5 years, thinking I was getting in a little early and building a good reputation. And I was right. I was just off by 10, 12, 14 years. So it's finally catching up now, but I'm glad to see it.
Yeah.
We had Matt Little, the mayor of Lakeville, on the show
Great guy.
a few
Great
weeks
guy.
ago. Yeah, and he had
Yeah.
just talked about he's a younger guy too, but you mentioned being here 18 years, just the explosion of what Lakeville has gone through with housing, with business, and things like that. So from your perspective, can you just kind of run us through what you saw 18 years ago to where we sit
To
now?
where we are now? Yeah. At the time, I was working downtown Minneapolis and commuting. I've lived in Lakeville for close to 25 years, or maybe actually a little over now. I love the community, really, really do. But I didn't love the commute. I was tired of driving into the city, and I, at the same time, I was complaining that there weren't enough restaurants out here. So I stopped complaining, decided to do something about it, and bought the land, built the building, and here we are.
What was tell us about your background then?
Oh, I'm ex-military. I was a Navy submariner, as a nuke officer. I did that for 10 years. When I got out of the military, I was recruited into some finance banking positions, typical corner office type, but not happy. I'm just not that person. I'm good at it, but I like people too much, and I love food. And this was a natural tie-in. And like many people, I worked my way through school, working at restaurants. When I was a kid, I grew up working in my cousin's restaurant, so I was very familiar with the industry. And so it wasn't too big of a leap when I was looking to do something for myself that this was a natural tie-in.
So how does it start? Is it finding a location, finding a concept, finding people around you that can help you out? Where do you start?
Where do you start? Well, I'm a very analytical type man. So I looked at it by doing the demographics. I looked at the demographics of Lakeville. Who are the people that live here? And then doing some basic research. How much money do they typically spend going out? How often do they go out? And I kind of built the restaurant based on those factors through my own filter, knowing what I wanted and drove it towards that. But since we are a more spread out community, that's one of the great advantages of Lakeville. You can be a part of the community, but not be stacked on top of each other. So things are spread out a bit. I needed to appeal to a wider audience, and that's why I designed the restaurant the way I did. It is a general style restaurant where there's something for everyone, all top quality. But if you're a vegetarian, if you're a meat lover, if you want all scratch food, we do that all here, and still with an approachable price point where it's not going to knock anyone out of the park.
Yeah, and we had lunch here today. I live in Golden Valley, so I don't make it down to Lakeville all that often, except for this pod yet. But that was a pretty good burger. I got to figure out if it's a good enough drive.
Yeah, is it worth it?
From Golden Valley to Lakeville. But no, I had the California burger with the French fries, which are crazy.
Hand cut, beer battered, stupid good.
Yeah, and you had the melt.
Yeah. If anyone knows me, 6 cheese patty melt, no onions, have a medium with fries.
Okay,
That's.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Sometimes I'll switch it up with the Monte Cristo.
Yeah, with the raspberry mayo.
Of course.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you can't go wrong with the French toast sandwich.
Yeah.
There you go.
With
It
the-
really is.
with
Yeah,
the
it
strip.
really is.
It's like, oh,
It's like a French toast club.
Yeah.
When you think about it, yeah, it's bacon and ham and turkey and mayo. Oh, yeah, it's good.
and the last time I talked to you about it, you kind of reminded me, so, get a little side of it to go home.
Yep.
So now from leftovers, I have that nice, delicious mayo to top off the leftovers.
Right.
Because you don't skimp on sizes. You actually have ample food for anybody.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to try to tie this into real estate a little bit. You said, okay, well, who lives in Lakeville? How much money do they make? What do they spend? And all those kind of things. Now, Lakeville obviously is going through a huge transition. One of the things we learned with Mayor Little was the most new construction homes were built in 2015 in Lakeville out of anywhere else in the entire state. So that obviously changes the demographic a little bit. But I'm sure just from meeting you, you're a guy that likes to probably stay with who you are.
Exactly. To your own self be true, and that's who we are. You don't want to be flip-flopping, based on the most recent survey. This is who we are, and I think we fit in well within the demographic of the city and of the customers. So everyone feels comfortable. But when I built the restaurant 18 years ago, at that time, that was also during a boom period. And Lakeville was one of the fastest growing communities in the country, not just the state. And so it's gone through some up cycles and down cycles based on the world events. But whenever it's positive, Lakeville is always leading the charge.
Yeah, it's funny. I graduated from Chaska High School about 22 years ago, even at that, not that Chaska's some metropolis, and it certainly wasn't in 1994. But Lakeville was like the end of the earth.
Right.
It seemed
It was. It was.
Yeah.
Farm fields all out here.
Yeah.
So that's kind of amazing.
And people still say too they think we live in Iowa, but then when you look at the map, Lakeville on a map it looks far away.
But it's so easy to get everywhere.
Yep.
One of the things I loved about it is that you're out of the headaches, and you're surrounded by an incredible community. You've got trails, you've got lakes, you've got more parks here than I think any place. But you can be downtown Minneapolis in a half hour, 40 minutes. You can be at the Mall of America in 20, 30 minutes.
Yep.
There's no issues getting anywhere from where you are. So you can have that great home base and still have access to all of the things that make Minnesota great.
And you get a little more bang for your buck too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Further south out of the center ring, your dollar is going to get you more house. So in Lakeville, you can get a really nice place. If you don't have to work downtown, it's a great opportunity. You can still work downtown.
You can still work downtown. It's just that some people like me are easily frustrated with traffic.
Actually, I want to say it was my last closing. It might not have been, but either my last or second to last closing, the buyers and sellers lived in South Minneapolis, not too far from Lake Nokomis, and they just bought a house on Kettering Trail here in Lakeville. And they worked. Both of them, husband and wife, both worked downtown. Yeah, they did the younger family or younger no kids thing in South Minneapolis. Had some kids and said, okay, well, we want to.
Now it's time for a community. It's a great family community.
Yeah, and they were attracted by the schools, the yard, the community, and they don't mind making that drive up 35. So we'll see how that goes.
And a lot of people don't know about Air Lake Industrial Park, which is right down County Road 70, right off the road here. It's the second largest industrial park in the entire state. There are some it's the headquarters of Post Cereals. We've got ConAgra. Incredible companies with really good work opportunities. So you've got good work, you've got great parks, you've got great homes. It's a great community. Yeah, obviously, I'm an advocate. I love where I live, and I love being a part of the community. One of the advantages of living where you work as well is that you really are a part of the community.
And also too, a little bit, when you have that nice commercial part of the city. They pay a nice chunk of taxes.
Oh yeah, that's a big part. Yeah, I didn't think of that, but yeah, that underwrites so much of what we have here in Lakeville, and that's one reason why we can have the best schools in the state and the incredible parks, and you never see a piece of trash on the street. I mean, how corny is that?
Yep.
But that's how things are here. It's a beautiful community, and the many of the companies that are based here help underwrite those costs. So that's why our home property taxes are not so high.
And I kind of brag too, because whenever, like, my older brother lives in St. Paul, and I'm not saying Lakeville's in St. Paul or in the same par, but after a snowstorm, Lakeville is cleaning the sidewalks before St. Paul even gets to the roads.
Yeah.
So my older brother, he's stuck in his alley, he can't get out. But here, they get the sidewalks are clear, people out jogging again, the roads are all cleared off.
Yeah.
And, granted, we're not compacted like St. Paul, but we have a lot of roads and everything's cleaned out.
Well, then you don't have an excuse not to go to work, though. So there's
But it's too cold.
It works. Yeah, it works.
Yeah, that's right.
At least you can say, "Oh, they didn't do my street. I can't go."
Well,
to
your
work
boss
today."
probably lives in St. Paul, so he's stuck there anyway, so he can't get to work.
The problem with us is we We work.
Yeah,
we're
that's not an excuse.
But it's a good one. You can work from home.
That's true.
Just don't tell anybody. Sweatpants, fireplace.
Yeah, I can't do that.
No, that's true. Yeah. So we set the scene here. We're on the Twin Cities Real Estate Pros podcast. Ron Johnson, licensed real estate agent with RE/MAX Advantage Plus. David Nelson's licensed real estate agent with RE/MAX Advantage Plus. We're with the owner of Harry's Cafe, Harry, here in Lakeville. Thanks for joining us. We are everywhere. We're on Facebook Live over there, and we're Facebook Live over there. We're also on SoundCloud for our audio podcast, which you can find on our website at TwinCitiesRealEstatePros.com. We'll be on YouTube. On the YouTube channel there, ImperialHomeTeam.tv. All that information you can find on our website at TwinCitiesRealEstatePros.com.
And also, too, while you're on Facebook Live again, if you're a local business, you don't have to be in Lakeville. You can be anywhere, or if you want something to promote, let us know. Put a comment below the Facebook Live, or just private message one of us, and we can kind of help you out here. But we're always looking for local companies that are not your big store companies that kind of the nuts and bolts of the community, and we love to help out, and people that may not know about the local treasures get them more exposure.
Yeah, especially people moving into town, which obviously there's a boom here. So people that are moving, whether it's from California or from Minneapolis, coming to Lakeville to find out what's here. So when we walk, we talked a little bit about some of the things on the menu.
Right.
Highlight some other things that you like on the menu.
I'm going to go right to desserts. We have one of the neat things about having your own restaurant. You get to indulge in those things that you love. I have a sweet tooth, but I try to restrain myself. So I'm all about quality first. We make our own ice cream from scratch, and not only do we make our own ice cream, we make our chocolate right from the bean in-house from scratch. It takes almost 2 days of 24 hours a day of grinding in a special machine. It's called a melange, just to get the bean down to a point where you can start to make chocolate. And that's what we do in-house. We have a professionally trained full-time pastry chef. So you don't expect that in a little restaurant out in the suburbs. But I'm very proud of that. We butcher our own meats. We make our own cold cuts. I have a 6-page gluten-free menu, a dedicated gluten-free menu for people that are on a restricted diet. I believe food is more than just sustenance. It's more than just eating and not being hungry. It's what brings us together. And so many people are left out of the loop, whether they have a dietary restriction or they can't eat regular ice cream. Well, I also make a vegan ice cream using coconut milk. So, everyone can get goodies. And it's just taking pride in what you do, and we have a lot of fun with it.
I think it's hard. If you come to Harry's and if you can't find something you like,
you got issues.
You have issues.
You got issues.
You're the problem.
Yeah.
You're the problem.
We can be a solution.
Sign?
Yeah.
Outside?
If you
food, you're the problem.
No, I'm never that arrogant. I need you guys a lot more than you need me. Trust me. But also, whenever you come here, try the Reuben. I'm originally from New York. That's where I was born, like all good Italian boys, right? So I came to Minnesota, and I couldn't get a good Reuben. And so when I first opened the restaurant, I was buying the best corned beef I could find. I actually was buying it from the delis in New York and having them shipped up. But they were still tough. How do you do it? Well, the trick is butcher your own meat. We brine the briskets for weeks. We roast them fresh every day. We make our own sauerkraut. It's just taking pride in what you do and doing it right, not cutting corners. And so that's what you can expect here. And of course, I'm quite proud of it.
And two, it's a consistency.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you go to restaurants, and if I order a medium burger and it comes medium rare, sometimes it burns. That's frustrating. It's nice to have a place where you come in, you know what you're going to order, and it's going to come the same way.
Right.
And
you can order your burger here rare. We have such confidence in the quality of our product and where it comes from. Nothing here is more than 3 days old. So, and nothing is ever frozen. Our meats are all local, grass and flax-fed beef. So you have that, full flavor, but with 40% less cholesterol. We don't ruin that stuff. We make sure it's done right and keep it for you. That's why your burger was so good.
It was really good. Go ahead and talk more about that beef, because then we hear about grass-fed, but not grass and flax.
And flax. Well, when I was, I've been trying to go as much organic as I can. I started that push about 10, 12 years ago, and it was almost impossible to find any product that was organic or all natural and local. The infrastructure wasn't there. they're finally really catching up to it. And Minnesota has a great system right now for grass and flax-fed beef. And what that's all about is when you first try the grass-fed beef, it sounds good, but the disadvantage is it's too lean. You don't get the marbling, you don't get the flavor, you don't get the fat, and fat is flavor. And some brilliant ranchers realized and found out through some study that by feeding the cattle flax seed, one, it's easier on the animal. Flax is from a grass. The ruminants can digest it much easier than they can corn. So you have much less contamination, all the bad stuff that can happen with corn. You've heard about the salmonella and E. coli contamination. Much of that comes from force-feeding cattle the wrong feed, corn being one of them. So by switching to the flax, it's easy on the cattle. You get a beautiful marbling, great flavor, proper fat, but the fat has 40% less cholesterol. Or the whole burger, all the beef has less cholesterol. And omega-3s, those great antioxidants that you find in fish and salmon, almost the same as wild salmon. And you get that with our beef. All our meat is that way. All our beef is that way. Our prime rib, for a prime rib sandwich or a roast beef or a ground beef or a hamburger, is all with that grass and flax-fed beef. Our chicken is Amish, all natural, free-range chicken. Little details adding up to make it worth your while.
And there's obviously different aspects to a restaurant. The food is a big one. Atmosphere is
Atmosphere
also
is
one. You've got a bar here where if you just want to sit, have a beer, and watch the game,
right.
Or if you want to sit and have a relaxing dinner, kind of like in one of your corners of the restaurant.
Very family friendly as well.
Yeah. So go ahead and let us know about the atmosphere people can expect.
Well, if you look around, I don't know how much you can see on the podcast. It is a warm atmosphere. It's welcoming. It's clean. Lots of stone and wood tables. And it's very family friendly. We have a lot of we have different demographics. We've got construction workers coming in on break in the middle of the day. We've got families and executives coming in during the day and in the evening. So it is comfortable for everyone. Just because your food is top notch doesn't mean it's fine dining. You don't want linens, you don't want the formality, and you don't want the price or the pretentiousness that comes with it. You just want the good food and the good service and a nice place to eat it. It really isn't rocket science, and we've kind of identified that and been running with it, and we've been growing double-digit growth through the last recession. Most of the restaurants and businesses were taking a dive. We're growing at double-digit growth for the last 8 years straight, and it's because attention to detail. We all know what the right thing to do is. It's just having the discipline to do it, and that's why we all get along well. It's professionalism, and
right.
It's not what you can get away with. It's what you can do and be proud of.
How about you? How did you discover Harry's?
I moved here almost 9 years ago, and I want to say it was because dinner and a movie.
Yeah.
Because hey, let's go grab dinner, go over to the Lakeville 21 Theater, and I don't remember the first thing I ate. It might have been the Monte Cristo. And I'm like, well, I'm done. This is it. And I bring a lot of clients that move from out of state into here, or at least recommend to come here because, and it's easy access off the interstate. But it's far enough away where a lot of people may not see it. Mm-hmm. And one of the things too, like you have your big sign, it's eye-catching. People know what it is. Right. But sometimes they don't know what you are.
Exactly.
Until you actually get them in the front door and try their food out.
Yeah, I could have done a little bit better with the design of the restaurant facing the freeway so people could see us. But actually, I didn't think of that. I was thinking more about looking towards our customers. And so from the freeway, we looked like a little tiny place tucked away behind a bunch of trees. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of more to insulate the restaurant from the freeway. So we're not a freeway restaurant. We're not. No. We're a community. We're a local restaurant that just happens to be easily accessible from the freeway.
And one of the cool things when I come back, so I keep interrupting
go for it.
No, just jumping in.
I don't get paid by the word. It's okay.
That's right. Yeah, and we talked about it earlier. Is I've been here. A lot of times. I've always recognized a lot of the same staff. Very few. And sometimes in the summer months, you may get college kids come back, work a little bit, and leave. But it seems like you really have your core staff that's been here at least for 8 years. I've been coming here.
Yep.
and it's got to test to you and kind of what your standards are too. It's got to help things out.
It absolutely does, and that allows us to have that better service. And I kid often, but it really, again, isn't rocket science. You just do. People want to be proud of where they work and what they do. Mm-hmm. It's up to us in management and driving that to set them up to succeed.
Right.
Where set those standards high, and when the standards are set high and maintained, people are proud of where they work and what they do. They're proud to associate themselves, and then they come to work with that positive attitude, and they stick around. We really have almost zero turnover. I've got people that started here in high school, worked all the way through college, or post-college, already have professional careers, and still work here because they love it, and they can work a couple shifts a week and help pay down their student debt a little bit, which is it's a different show altogether.
Shows.
Right. But that is to me, I take it as a huge compliment, and I love it. I love being a part of the community, and that is that's all inclusive.
Well, it's kind of fun too. I was here. I can't remember who it was, but I ordered my 6-cheese patty melt.
Yeah.
And I've had the server numerous times, and she goes, "You don't want onions, right?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah, thanks for reminding me." And I was like, "Wow." So the person I was with goes, "How often do you come here?" And I'm like, "Well, I come here often enough, and they know what I want." But she said, she pretty much said, "You don't want onions."
Yeah.
So yeah, like Norm from Cheers.
Everyone knows your name.
Yeah,
knows your name.
or at least what I eat.
Yeah, or what you eat. The airplane, obviously, has got to be tied to your military and your passion for that. So let's talk about that.
You can see I am a man of passion, especially when I'm talking about food. But I come from a military family, not just myself. I was a submariner, but my pop was a Navy pilot, and he started collecting these old warplanes, and we used to fly them around the country. It was a big part of my life growing up. And we'd go to the air shows and the races, and it was just super cool. So when I built the restaurant, I wanted it to reflect who I am, those things that are important to me. It's not gimmicky, it's not kitschy, it's not a pretense. It's just, this is who I am. Better or worse? I think it's better. And when I did the sign out here, this is one of the great things about the city of Lakeville. It's a 3D sign. It's a half-scale World War II P-40 Flying Tiger plane. The city had every reason and excuse to disallow it. It's not like a normal sign. It's not a box and a square. And they had every reason to say no. But they didn't. They said, if we can make it work, we're going to make it work. And they worked with me, and here we have this super cool sign, which is a reflection of who we are. And they see that, I see that, and again, it's another one of the reasons why I love the city.
And you've got the pictures scattered throughout as well.
Yeah, the aviation art in the restaurant, they were signed by those pilots. So they're signed by, this one over her shoulder are mostly Congressional Medal and Silver Star winners from World War II, Vietnam, Korea. And the ones along the walls you'll see here are the Flying Tigers, and then it's autographed by the Flying Tigers. The Tuskegee Airmen, and then it's autographed by the Tuskegee Airmen, and so on and so on. The Doolittle Raiders, just cool stuff. And of course, it was a big part of my life, and that's why it's here.
So get a good meal, get a good atmosphere.
Get a little history.
Lesson.
A little history, right.
Lesson as well. Well, we appreciate you letting us set up our makeshift studio here in the back of your restaurant.
Well, I appreciate being included.
All right, well, thank you. And again, that's Harry. Why don't you give your website and address for us?
Tough one. It's eatitharrys.com.
Okay.
www, just spelled out, eatitharrys.com.
And we'll have that on the video version of this as well. So we appreciate you joining us and having us here for lunch and letting us do our show here. So this is the Twin Cities Real Estate Pros podcast. Again, you can check us out online, TwinCitiesRealEstatePros.com. We're also on YouTube. You can hear us on SoundCloud, and right now we're on Facebook Live, so you can send us a message there. Otherwise, eatitharrys.com is another website that you can visit as well. So another show done on location from Harry's Cafe here in Lakeville. We'll be back with you next week. So thank you for joining us for the Twin Cities Real Estate Pros podcast.